direction, and fishes they follow the flow.
Hi guys, and welcome to today's vlog. It's been quite a while since I've done one, but I've had a few people on Instagram and also on my YouTube comments as well want me to show you the sheep that I recently purchased. I've had them for probably about 8 weeks now. I can't remember the exact date. And initially we got 2 boys, and they are wethers, and basically a wether is one that can no longer produce babies, without getting too graphic, but you can always Google it if you want to take a further look at that. And wether is spelled W-E-T-H-E-R. And then about 2 weeks later we got 4 girls. Now the girls are Swiss Valais Blacknose Sheep, and they are gorgeous. They're really woolly. They've got the black faces, a little bit of black on their front legs and also on their back hocks as well. And the names that I've given them for the girls, the 2 older ones are Bertha and Mabel, and then I've got Matilda and Georgiana, and the boys are called Gerald and Charlie. And Charlie, I'll show you a bit later in this video, but Charlie is the class clown. He's a bit of a character. And when we first got the girls, they were a little bit skitty, offstandish. They weren't really, well, they didn't really have a ton of human contact, I don't think. They were close to the house, but I don't think the people there spent time or a lot of time with them every day. But they've actually become fairly friendly, and they feed out of my hands, and actually they're getting a bit full of themselves. They are a delight, and I'm so pleased that I got them. Now today's going to be quite a big day in this house for us, for my husband and I, because today, I don't know about the boys, they might just be crutched, and if you want to see what crutched means, you can always Google that as well. But the girls are going to be shorn, so they have quite big coats, and spring is underway, and probably in another couple of weeks, or in another week perhaps, we start getting flies, and we start off with what they're called blowflies. I know in Australia you guys have them as well. And if you don't shear your sheep, well, one, they'll get too hot because it's coming up towards summer. But the other thing is that they can get fly strike, and that is really nasty. And again, if you want to look into that further, you can always Google that. So today is the first time for me that they're going to be shorn. And what we have here is, in these lifestyle farms, is there is a girl that's going to come out, and what she does is she will shear them. She'll also drench them if needed. She will vaccine probably 4 of them. I'll explain why now. A couple of them aren't going to have a vaccine because they've got to get a special one. She'll also trim their hooves, which I've also been doing as well, but she'll probably do a better job than me, a bit more professional. So that's going to be really interesting to see how all that works. So when I was talking about they're getting their hooves trimmed, the boys, when they came, they were perfectly trimmed. But when the girls came, because this is the first time that I've had sheep, I grew up on a dairy farm, but it's the first time that I've had sheep, and their hooves actually weren't in great condition. And the valets, they are known for they can get problematic hooves. So a couple of them have had, one actually had an abscess, and we had to get the vet out, and that got fixed fairly quickly. And then the others get what can be called, and that's not necessarily just for that breed of sheep, other sheep can get it as well, but what they can get is called foot rot or scald, and they become lame in one of their hooves. Now it's quickly fixed. We've got this, it's called blue spray, it's an antibiotic spray, and you have to spray it on their hooves, and usually you do that 2 or 3 days in a row and it comes right. But the girls were getting it quite a bit. So also what we've been doing is we've been giving them foot baths, and I'll show you that a little bit when I go down below and show you the sheep. I won't actually show you them foot bathing them because I did about a week ago, and it's a little bit of a process, but I'll show you where we do it. And basically it's a solution and some water, and they have to stand in it for 5 minutes, and it helps dry up their hooves, and it just keeps them in really healthy condition. And we've done that twice now. Once for the boys, they don't need it as often, but for the girls we've done that twice. And I've noticed just a huge improvement, and they just seem, I know it sounds strange, but they actually just seem a lot happier. Because you know how cats and dogs can get the zoomies? Well, sheep can get the zoomies too, and actually they're called binkies. And when they zoom around and jump round. I don't know whether they'll do it this morning when I go down and show you, but if they do, I'll try and capture it on film. But I have also caught it a couple of times when I've taken my phone down with me. So if they're not doing it this morning when they go down, I'll put up one of the videos that I've taken from my iPhone. But they jump up in the air and they skip round and they flick their legs in the air, and that's called binkies, and it's really, really cute. So because I hadn't had sheep before, I didn't know how much of a character they were, but they actually do have a lot of personality. They've all got their own separate little personalities, and they are just really adorable. I am absolutely in love with them.
My heart's always been green.
Now, I mentioned before about 2 of the girls won't be getting vaccines today because I already picked up 2 vaccines from the vet, and that's going to be given to them on the 12th of October. And the reason why it has to be so specific is that the 2 older girls, Mabel and Bertha, they are pregnant. And I don't know whether they're going to have 1 lamb or they're going to have twins. And they're due any time from the 26th of October. So that is really exciting. And with the vaccine, what you do is you give it 2 weeks before they're due. That goes into their system, and those antibodies, they pass to the lamb in utero. So when they're born, they are protected as well. So that's why they're not going to be vaccinated today. I'm going to wait until the 12th, which isn't too far away, in about 3 or 4 days, and we'll give them the vaccine then. Now, after I've been down below to show you the sheep, I'm getting my husband to help me film a couple of things as well. So we'll see how that goes because he doesn't do a lot of that. And then after we've been down there, what I might do is, apart from my makeup and my beauty items that I love, I think I'm going to go to either it's called PG Wrightson's or Farmlands, or perhaps both. And what they are is they are farm shops. So that's where you pick up anything you need for your farm, whether it's food for the animals, drenching, birthing equipment, what else is it? There's fencing, anything to do with farms. That's where you go to get it. And I absolutely love going there. And it might seem strange, but it definitely is one of my happy places to go. So I'm having my second coffee for the morning. I've done all my housework for the morning as well because I wanted to be organized for today. And I've got on my full face of makeup, and 99% of the time, even if I'm not going out, I do put on a full face of makeup, whether it's a video or just for me. I just absolutely love it. And today I'm trialing out, it's a skin tint, and this is the Gucci Glow one. And it's actually really lovely, and it's a light coverage, but it's not a barely there skin tint. I think it actually gives really beautiful coverage. And I mentioned it in the last video that I just put up, and I'm also testing out the Gucci matte powder. So I've got this glow on today and then the matte over the top, and I think together they just look really, really beautiful. So for bronzer, I've got the Laura Mercier one. When these came out, I talked about these. I absolutely love it. And then on my eyes, I decided to take out a Nars palette, and I'm going to show it to you. One thing about Nars eyeshadows is that they're beautifully pigmented, they last all day, and they blend beautifully. But look at the color story of this one. I'll just hold up so you can take a look. It's definitely my type of color story, and I think it looks really, really beautiful. The other thing that I haven't mentioned in a video yet, and I will at a later date, and this is the new Rouge Dior, and it's the Onstage lipstick, and the shade of mine is number 120 Iconic Rose. I'm going to have all this listed in the description box below, and I'm just going to hold this up so you can take a look. Hopefully this will focus. I might have to put my hand in front so you can take a good look, and I'll give it a little swatch. I really like these. They are really pigmented, and then they have a gloss, but they are also long wear as well. So that's a swatch of Iconic Rose. It's absolutely beautiful, and I want one that's also in pink as well. but it's not on the New Zealand Dior website. But when it becomes available, I am going to pick it up. The casing of this is really beautiful as well. It's a slimline, and I think the slimline ones always look extra chic as well, but I'm really pleased with it. And it is a long wear, so it does obviously wear off, but it also leaves the stain on your lips as well. I really like these. I have noticed from comments on other videos, people tend to either really love this lipstick or they just think, not that it's a fail, but they just sort of like ho-hum about it. But I actually really like it. And on my cheeks for blush, I've got a couple of the Bobbi Brown. These are the Velvet Mattes, and I've got one that's more of a brown, and then I've got a pink as well. At the moment, I'm into wearing pinks and browns on my cheeks and double blushing that way. And I just think it's really pretty. So I was thinking about starting memberships on my YouTube channel, and I thought maybe I should start with this video, whether that membership entails that you get to see these type of videos first and then I open it up to everyone else. But I'm just in two minds about membership. I could do membership only lives, because then I've only got a really small group of people, and that would be quite nice to do lives that way. But let me know what you think in the comments below, because if that's something that you're interested in, then I could look, I don't know about now popping up a membership, but perhaps in the near future I may start doing that. So let's go down below. Now when I say down below, it's because where our house is, it's up way up high on a hill, and you have to go down a long driveway, and we've got other sheds down there, the chickens are down there, and it's really beautiful, and that's where the sheep are at the moment as well. So that's what I mean when I say we're going to go down and see the sheep. It is such a beautiful day today. We've had a lot of days with quite a bit of rain. It's really just been typical spring weather, but today is really gorgeous. So I'm going to video a little bit of that from outside up here, because it does look really pretty, and probably put that at the start of the video. So I'll meet you down below and you can meet my sheep. So this one here is Charlie, and he was the one that I was telling you about. He could be a little bit of a class clown, and he's actually quite a friendly little fella. Now these two boys, and that's Gerald over there, I got them because she has a farm that has at least 200 of these brown sheep. They are, the breed are Romneys, and they were going to be made into sheepskins. So I took them instead, and they really are just lovely. I mean, I love the girls, but I think the boys just look really beautiful as well. Now Gerald's a little bit offstandish. He's not super friendly. He's a lovely boy, but he's just not as friendly as Charlie. So those are the two boys, and over here in the background, this is where the chickens are. And the last couple of weeks they started laying eggs again for the spring and all through the summer. So I'll just see if I can get in a little bit closer and be able to see some of the chickens as well. And that's their coop where they go at night, at the end where they lay their eggs. So there's 4 of them. We've got 10 chickens altogether. I'm not sure where the other girls are. They might be in the coop. They might be busy laying eggs, hopefully. We've got about 4 laying at the moment, so I'm hoping that will increase over the next week now that the daylight hours are getting longer. So here are the 4 girls. The 2 young ones are going to be a year old the end of this month, early next month. And I just need to have a look, but I think that one may be, it's hard to tell the young girls apart. I've got to look at their front legs. I think this one here is Matilda, and the other one over there, the other little one, that is Georgiana. And actually her back right foot, she seems a little bit lame. I was just saying how it was good, but so we're going to have a look at that later when the shearer comes and probably put some blue spray on it. We have had a lot of rain and that can cause issues with their hooves as well, but it's just minor at this stage, and probably a bit of blue spray is going to fix that. And this one here, if I can get in closer, this one is Mabel. So she's bigger, and she's nearly 2 years old, and she's pregnant. And this one here is Bertha, and she's nearly 5 years old, and she's pregnant as well. They're not going to look up, they're busy eating all the grass, but you can see how woolly they are, and they do need shearing. So I was talking about where we do the foot bath, so I'm just going to take you over here. So what we got when we first got the sheep is this, and this is really good. We couldn't really be without this. I'll show you soon, but I suppose you guys will call them pellets, but over here they're called sheep nuts, and it's like crack for sheep. They'll follow you anywhere for those sheep nuts. They absolutely love them. So to get them in, if we check their hooves for shearing, for drenching, for anything like that, this is the pen. So they either come in here, we check their hooves, but then later on today when we do the shearing, we're going to put them all in this bigger pen here, and then the shearer will just pull them out one by one and shear them, drench them, do their hooves, and give them their vaccines as I was talking about, and then let them out. Now when they have a foot bath, there is this through here, and this is called a race. And so they just go in here, and I haven't got the foot baths in here, but the 2 long containers that set up in here with the solution. Then they stand in here for about 5 minutes, a little bit longer maybe. We let them out this gate here, and then they stand in here probably for about a quarter of an hour before we let them back out through that gate in the paddock. So we just wouldn't be without these pens. They'll come for sheep nuts, but then to try, if you have to get them to inspect their hooves or do anything else, it's near impossible. Whereas when they're confined, it's all a lot easier to do. And who have I got behind me? So there's Charlie, he's come up behind, and then we've got Mabel, Bertha, and the 2 younger girls. And Gerald, he's over there. He's a bit of a loner, Gerald. He hangs around with Charlie quite a bit, but then he tends to do his own thing as well. And the other thing we had to get set up here is more fencing, because you've got to rotate them through the paddocks quite often. So our paddocks were quite big, so we had to get the fencing in so we could do that, because it's for the health of the pasture. It's also for the health of the sheep too. When it comes to parasites, worms, things like that, it's good to rotate them through the different paddocks. And in here, it was quite boggy when it rained. So what my husband did on this side of the trough, these are called water troughs, what he did is put some stones around here, and it stays really good, and that's also good for their hooves as well. But the other side needs to be done as well. He's going to do that in a few days. So with the fencing, got all these new gates, and then in the back there, my husband made that. You can see it, it's a shed, but it can be moved. Actually, before I show you that, I'll just show you this as well. So this is what's called a mineral block, and this was full about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they really like that, and it's good for them. Just gives them extra minerals and vitamins and things like that, and especially good for the girls, since they're going to, for the 2 older girls, because they're going to be having their lambs. And then we also have beehives here as well. Now we don't have anything to do with them. This guy comes in and he produces honey, and I think these are his breeding bees, and he just comes and checks them every now and then once a year he just drops off some honey, and it's actually Manuka honey, which is actually really, really expensive, so we get that free, and he just gets to use our land for the beehives. But it's fine with the sheep. The bees and the sheep seem to get along fine. There's no stings or anything like that. So you can also see a couple of beehives there. Now that house that you can see in the background, that's actually our neighbour's house, because our house, you can't see it from here, it's way up on the hill there. So this is the temporary shed, and in the evenings when I give them their sheep nuts, I also give them some hay as well. They need some fresh hay. And when they move paddocks, this is actually movable. We just hook it up to the quad bike and you can just move it from paddock to paddock. And none of these sheep had any shelter before, but it didn't take them long before they came here. I think it was within 2 days. They were, Charlie and George were in that shelter overnight, and when it was raining, and the girls are exactly the same. They just absolutely love it, and it's actually quite full in there, and they all fit in there, and they're all nice and cozy. And that's our other paddocks out through there, and there's other fencing there. And then out the back of the property we've got more land as well, but that actually needs to be fenced off properly as well before we use that. But this is definitely enough in the meantime, especially during the spring when the grass growth is a lot. We can rotate them through the paddocks. So if it works where my husband took that video, you'll see I'm in nothing fancy. I always wear my hat, the sun's out today, sunglasses, wear a hat. I've got my sunscreen on, but it's really good just to have that extra protection. And I just wear this short sleeved coat over the top. It's not really cold this morning, it's just a little bit chilly, but it helps keep my arms free if I need to do different things. And now you can also see why I don't have long nails either, and my nail polish never lasts very long because I'm opening gates, doing different things with the sheep, and the nail polish just chips really well. And then I always just wear my jeans. I have Wrangler jeans, and of course gumboots. Gumboots are a necessity when you're on a farm. So now I'm going to get some nuts for the sheep, those pellets, so I can get them back into this paddock where they actually belong. And then I'm going to go to PG Wrightson's and pick up some stuff there. And if I remember, I will video a little bit in that shop as well.
They say get rich so I can buy all that I want, but I've got all the smiles that I need. They say get famous so everyone will know me, but that sounds like a movie I don't want to see. They say get smart so I can solve any problem, as if they'll all go away. They say go hard, but I'm a softie deep inside, and I don't feel like hiding anymore. They say be nice, but I'd rather be kind and be there for those who are in need. They say you gotta think twice. Maybe we should think a little more about how we treat the world that we call home. They say settle down, but I ain't one for settling, so I'll just keep on chasing my dreams. They say grow up, as if it's a given, but I ain't taking those pills anymore. No. Got a joy that's overflowing. They say don't give it away, but I'll do it anyway. They say get real, but when the truth isn't valued, no one really knows how to feel. That's how it is, and that's how it's always been. But what about how it could be? Enough is enough. There's new voices talking, and those are the ones that I want to hear. And they say too much, but I know who I am, so I don't listen to them anymore.
He rode in on a horse named Trigger from a town just east of the Mississippi River, and saw her standing there in a little blue dress. She was the prettiest girl he ever did see, but she almost wouldn't let him buy her a drink, 'cause her dad said ace high girls don't talk to cattle hands. But she took his arm, and then when they shared the sweetest kiss, he brought his pipe up to his lips and said, all the stars in the eastern sky couldn't bring me back. But he left her in the morning without
So they're going to be shorn very soon, but the lady Briar, her name is, she's just texted me and said her day isn't going to plan, so she's going to be another 20 minutes. So I'm not quite sure how full on it'll be for sharing, but I will try and video some of it for you. So that has been quite a long day, and the sheep look so different now that they are naked. But in saying that, once they've been shorn, I can see their body condition, and they're not too skinny and they're not too fat, and they actually look really good. I did take a couple of notes because I just want to explain a couple of things. So Georgiana, the little one, she did have scald, and what scald is, it's a superficial, it's a dermatitis type of infection, but not too serious. So after she was shorn, I did put some blue spray on that hoof, and she should be fine by tomorrow. So that blue spray is an antiseptic, and it also has an antibiotic in it as well. And with the two older girls, it looks like one may be pregnant and one may not be. So when they've been shorn and they're upside down, there are telltale signs if they are pregnant. And one of them is that they're starting to, because really they shouldn't be too far away from lambing. As I said, it's from the 26th of October onwards. So maybe the 26th, maybe a couple of weeks or a month in there after that, after the 26th. So late October, early November. So the signs that Bertha hasn't got is, one, she isn't bagging up, and what they mean by that is their udder starts to get bigger because the milk starts to come in. Of course, the last week before they're due, it's going to bag up even more. And the other telltale sign is their vulva, and that gets enlarged and the colour changes and it's more pink. Now, Mabel had all those signs. She was starting to bag up, her udder is starting to get full, and her vulva looked like it was enlarged as well. Whereas Bertha, she didn't look like she was bagging up, and it didn't look like her vulva was enlarged either. So I don't think she's pregnant, but it looks like Mabel is. So whether she's got one or two, in a way, I'm a little bit relieved. This is my first time with lambing. Growing up on a dairy farm and everything, of course, calving, I was used to that. I saw that many, many times, but then lambing is something that I'm not quite used to. So I'm quite pleased that there really is only going to be one for my first time, because the other thing is that it doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes the mother rejects the lamb. So if that's the case, then the lamb's going to have to come up here to the house, and it's going to have to be bottle fed around the clock, at least for the first 2 to 3 days, and then still bottle fed quite a lot throughout the day as it gets a little bit older. So if that were to happen, then it's going to be easier having the one lamb. So Bara was one that was shearing the sheep, and she didn't do their hooves because she thought their hooves were in really good condition or had done a really good job. So I'm pleased with that, because I have been keeping an eye on them, as well as the foot baths, and trimming them as well. So it looks like I wasn't too much of an amateur at that. I was actually doing quite a good job. So I'm really pleased with that. And the other thing that Byra did while she was here is that she drenched them all as well. The only thing that wasn't done to them, apart from the hooves, because it didn't need it, was them to be vaccinated. And of course, for Bertha and Mabel, I've got the 2 vaccines. But Byra didn't have the vaccines for the rest of the other 4, because for some reason she had run out. I think she got called out to a couple of jobs, and I don't think she had it with her. So she's going to drop me off 4 syringes so that I can vaccinate them. She'll probably do it this weekend, so they'll be vaccinated all on the same date. So at this stage, they're all looking really good, all looking really healthy. They're probably going to feel the cold a little bit, although I'd say that it's not really very cold. I think last night it dropped down to 8 degrees Celsius, which I think is probably somewhere 45 Fahrenheit overnight, somewhere around there. I'm not quite sure with the conversions yet from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So the cold weather is definitely over. So this is a great time for them to be shorn, and also upcoming for Mabel's lambing as well, because it's quite good if she hasn't got all that wool in the way when she's giving birth and for the initial feeding and things like that. So I'm looking a little bit more worse for wear than I was this morning, because she was late to the job, because I said she was called out to something else and she ended up being an hour late. So we're out there all afternoon by the time we were waiting for her, getting the girls into the paddock, and then we penned them, and then the shearing as well. So it has been a bit of a longer afternoon than I thought it was going to be. But I have made myself another coffee, and before I started putting the girls in the other paddock, between this morning when I first filmed, I was actually able to edit quite a bit of this video. So I've only got this little bit to edit, and then I just need to do the thumbnail and then upload to YouTube, and hopefully you guys will be able to see it tonight. That's New Zealand time, when I normally put up a video at 11:30 p.m. Now, in saying that, I know in America your daylight saving is going to end fairly soon. So our daylight saving has started and yours is about to end, and normally once the daylight saving ends in America, then what I do is I move the times on my videos and I make it so that it is early morning my time instead of late at night. And then so in America you would get to see my videos probably mid to late morning, lunchtime, somewhere around there. But that's what I've been doing the last couple of years, and it actually works out really well. So that's it for today's video. It's been a busy day. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.